3 recovery tips that actually fix your fitness plateau. Most people who stop seeing progress in the gym are not training wrong. They're recovering wrong. Training breaks muscle tissue down. Everything that happens outside the gym, sleep, nutrition, daily movements, is what builds it back up stronger. When those outside the gym habits are inconsistent, the training effort doesn't compound the way it should. 3 specific habits change that, and the third one is the one most people overlook entirely. Stay through all of them because the order matters. The biggest obstacle to consistent training is not motivation. Motivation is unreliable and tends to be strongest on rest days and weakest on the days that require the most effort. What keeps someone training consistently over months and years is reducing the number of small decisions that stand between waking up and actually starting the workout. Each small friction point, finding the gym bag, locating a clean shirt, deciding what to wear, adds to the cognitive load of getting started. And that load accumulates into a reason to delay or skip. The solution is to remove those decisions the night before. Laying out workout clothes, packing the gym bag, and placing shoes at the door the night before takes 3 to 5 minutes. Those minutes shift the decision point from morning, when willpower is often at its lowest, to the evening before, when the commitment is easier to make. Some people take this further by sleeping in athletic gear on nights before early morning sessions. That may sound excessive, but the logic is straightforward. The fewer steps between being asleep and being dressed for the gym, the less opportunity there is for the morning version of yourself to negotiate out of it. This is not a hack or a trick. It's an acknowledgement that consistency depends more on environment design than on discipline. The people who train reliably over long periods have generally made training the default rather than the effort. Setting up the night before moves in that direction. Once the consistency problem is addressed, the next question is what kind of training actually fits into a real schedule? The common assumption is that exercise requires a continuous block of time, typically an hour, and that shorter sessions don't count toward the goal. That assumption is wrong, and the research on it has been clear enough long enough that it no longer qualifies as a fringe position. Breaking a daily exercise goal into 3 10-minute sessions spread across the day produces cardiovascular benefits and calorie expenditure comparable to a single continuous session of the same total duration. 10 minutes before work, 10 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes in the evening adds up to 30 minutes of actual work, and the body processes that accumulated stress in ways that register in the same metabolic pathways as a single block. The heart rate elevation across 3 sessions, the oxygen demand, the muscular engagement, all of it contributes to the day's total load regardless of whether it happened continuously. This matters practically because it removes the all-or-nothing reasoning that causes most people to skip exercise entirely on busy days. A day with no available 60-minute window is not a rest day by default. It's a day that calls for 3 10-minute windows, which almost any schedule contains. A walk at a purposeful pace, a set of bodyweight exercises, a short resistance band circuit, all qualify. The workout doesn't need to look like a gym session to count as one. For people building a training habit from scratch, micro-workouts also reduce the psychological barrier to starting. A 10-minute commitment is easier to begin than a 60-minute commitment, and once started, the session often extends naturally. Even when it doesn't, 10 minutes of real effort beats 0 minutes of planned effort that never happens. The third variable affects everything else, and it's the one that gets the least attention in general fitness content. Gut health determines how much of what a person eats actually gets used. A person consuming a well-structured diet with adequate protein, carbohydrates, and micronutrients can still see poor results if the gastrointestinal tract isn't absorbing those nutrients efficiently. The food goes in, but the body doesn't get full value from it. This matters most for 2 goals that are often discussed separately, but share the same underlying dependency. Muscle building requires the amino acids from dietary protein to be absorbed into the bloodstream and made available to muscle tissue for repair and synthesis. If gut health is compromised, protein digestion is incomplete, and the muscle repair process that happens between sessions is slower and less thorough than it should be. Fat loss has a similar dependency through a different mechanism. Poor gut health tends to reduce metabolic efficiency and can affect the hormonal signals that regulate appetite and energy storage. The 2 most accessible interventions are fiber and hydration. Fiber supports the gut microbiome, the population of bacteria in the intestinal tract that plays a central role in digestion and helps regulate the speed at which food moves through the system. Adequate fiber intake keeps that process running at a rate that allows nutrients to be absorbed rather than passed through too quickly or too slowly. Hydration works alongside fiber by maintaining the fluid environment in which digestion and absorption happen. Dehydration slows gastric motility and reduces the efficiency of nutrient transport across the intestinal wall. Neither intervention requires a supplement or a specialized protocol. Increasing vegetable intake, eating whole grains rather than processed alternatives, drinking water consistently across the day rather than in large amounts at specific times. These are the practical versions of improving fiber intake and hydration. The effect on training results is not immediate, but over weeks of consistent application, it changes what the body is able to do with the same dietary input. All three of these work together. Consistency from the night before prep ensures the training sessions happen. Micro workouts make sure those sessions continue even when the schedule compresses. Gut health ensures the recovery between those sessions is as complete as possible. When these habits become part of a daily routine, they begin reinforcing one another in ways that are easy to overlook. Better digestion means the body can absorb more of the protein, carbohydrates, healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals already present in the diet. Those nutrients are then available to repair muscle tissue, restore glycogen stores, support immune function, and maintain the hormonal processes that regulate energy and recovery. The result is not just feeling healthier, but performing better during each training session. This is why sustainable fitness is built on systems rather than isolated actions. A perfectly designed workout program cannot compensate for poor recovery, just as an excellent diet cannot fully overcome inconsistent training. Each habit supports the next. Preparing in advance reduces missed workouts. Consistent movement improves appetite regulation and sleep quality. Better sleep enhances recovery, decision-making, and the motivation to repeat the same healthy behaviors the following day. Over time, these positive feedback loops become stronger, making consistency feel less like discipline and more like routine. Perhaps the most encouraging part is that none of this requires perfection. Missing one workout, eating one unhealthy meal, or having one stressful day does not erase progress. What matters is returning to the routine as quickly as possible instead of abandoning it altogether. Lasting physical transformation is rarely the result of dramatic changes. It is the outcome of ordinary habits repeated consistently, allowing small improvements to accumulate into meaningful long-term results. In the end, the strongest bodies are built by the strongest routines, not by the strongest bursts of motivation. Consistent execution of simple fundamentals will always outperform short periods of extreme effort followed by inconsistency. Over months and years, those daily choices compound into a level of health and performance that no shortcut can replicate. Subscribe to Storm Rep for more.